Okay, now already we have discussed 6 actors involved in the Syrian civil war, but there are still more. So over here in this quadrant, we'll put the Kurds. Now, whereas I mentioned that Shia and Sunni are 2 sectarian groups within Islam, Kurds are actually not identified along a religious line, and in fact are quite religiously diverse. Instead, the Kurds are an ethnic group, so they identify along a common history, common culture, common language, dress, even physical characteristics. And the Kurds are a nation, so an ethnic group of people that spread over 5 different states. Their presence is not just in Syria, but also in Iran, Iraq, Armenia, and Turkey. And the Kurds have been fighting for centuries to try to have their own state called Kurdistan. And this really has created tensions between the Kurds and other groups. Okay? Specifically, historically, the Assad regime has not allowed the Kurds to take part of its territory to form Kurdistan. So there's some natural disagreement here. However, the Kurds are not very close either to the Free Syrian Army. And originally, they did not get involved in the civil war that erupted. However, as both sides were fighting each other in an attempt to gain control, they started moving into the territory that Kurds want and where they live and want to identify as Kurdistan. And as a result, Kurds at some points began fighting both this group and this group, really trying to defend their territory from whomever came within it, into it. The Kurds have proven to be extremely successful in this. After all, they've been fighting for their territory for centuries, and they're quite militarily advanced, not so much in technology and equipment, but in skill and discipline, and in passion for fighting for the land, defending land that they would like to have eventually become a state. As a result, some of the connection between this side, the U.S., has used the Kurds in a fight against this last group. This last group, many have probably heard on the news recently. This group is called the Islamic State, or ISIS, or ISIL, or Daesh. All of these names refer to the same group of people. What's interesting about this group of people is that they are of the Sunni sect, whereas this group, some of them would like to see Syria become a democratic state based on a rule of law, but then practice Sunniism in their homes privately. Others may want to see a future of Syria that has some Islamic law as part of its governing body. Islamic State would like to see a caliphate put in the place of Syria and Iraq, meaning an Islamic state or a state that's based on Islamic law that is so far removed from how a moderate Sunnism, so a very strict view of Islam. So when they call themselves the Islamic State, it's extremely important to understand that they want to be a state. They are in fact not a state. They are considered to be a non-state actor, also identified as a terrorist organization by some. The word Daesh that I put in there is an Arabic word to mean kind of those who are bothersome or causing trouble, because the Islamic State would like to be called this term, Islamic State. However, many that are fighting the Islamic State don't want to give credence to their desire to become a state by using it in the name, and oftentimes refer to them as Daesh. So here you have the Islamic State that is fighting pretty much everyone else on the board, okay? So you have them fighting this group because they have a different view of how the future of Syria should look. You see them fighting this group, the Assad government, because they in fact want control rather than the government that's in place now. And they're fighting this group to gain more territory. So this is the spaghetti confusing diagram that is the Syrian civil war. And in part, one of the reasons that it's been going on so long is there are so many actors, each with their own small interest in maybe a part of the Syrian civil war, that's causing chaos that is spreading across the entire country.